Hello, everyone.
Hello, good evening,
Did you
sir.
get this point?
Good evening, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, fine.
Okay.
Because due to exertion, sometimes it happens. The
Yes.
schedule is very tight. Yesterday was schedule was very tight.
Okay.
So I am already consultant in some of the company.
Okay.
So I went one of the company. There were some analytics machine learning model was to be created.
Okay.
So there I spent 4 hours, and the weather is not good.
Yes, sir.
Then I came, and there is an Navaratri is also running.
Hmm.
So in the morning we have to take 2 hours minimum in puja part. These all things. So that's why. Uh, I think today is our last class, last session of this R1. So I would like to please you turn on your camera and then we start it. Meanwhile, I finish my tea. Namaskar. Uh, Puspa Podal. It is your. It is not your name. I think that. Yes, sir.
No, sir. This is my name, sir.
This is your name. Okay, okay, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. And
So actually, this such type of name belongs to female.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In previous time, many Indian guys said to me, "Male, oh darling, hello darling, are you married?" Just like.
My sister-in-law name is Puspa.
Yes.
Elder sister-in-law.
Yes, sir.
So, how are
Actually, I'm
you?
working in the Central Bureau of Statistics in Nepal, sir.
Nice, nice. Yeah, yeah.
My job is data management, sir.
Okay, okay. So, where are you in Nepal, Kathmandu or?
Yes, sir. Kathmandu head office.
Okay, okay, nice.
Yes, sir.
When we visit to Kathmandu, we meet to you.
Welcome, sir. Sure,
Hmm?
sir.
How are you, Sunita ji? Your mic, please unmute your mic.
I'm fine, sir.
So, what are you doing?
Sir, I'm research scholar in Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar.
Okay, so what is your stream?
Sir, wastewater treatment.
Okay, and nice, nice. And Surendran ji,
Hi, sir.
hmm, tell me about yourself little bit.
Yeah, I'm from South India.
Hmm.
I've been working with TCS for the last 5.5 years. I'm an automation tech lead.
Hmm.
I'm a method of learning data science. So this course will help me in terms of
Okay.
understanding statistics and analysis. So I just took
Nice.
up this course.
Hmm. Nice. And Praveen Nath ji.
Hi, sir.
Hmm.
I'm from Sri Lanka.
Hmm.
Currently, I'm working as a software engineer in the field of AI and machine learning.
Nice, nice.
My major is computer vision, sir. So
Okay,
I just want
nice.
to do some data analytics as well. So
Hmm.
that's why I wanted to join with this course.
You are already perfect in R little bit
Yes, sir.
already.
During my undergraduation, I used to work with R.
Hmm.
So I know some basics, but I
Hmm.
want to know some advanced concepts in R.
Yeah, yeah. Advanced courses we have the R intermediate, then the R advanced one, advanced two,
Okay.
and this way 4 part are there.
Okay.
In the second part, we cover the data visualization with ggplot2
Mm-hmm.
and R basics also,
Okay.
and then we cover that data preparation for
Mm-hmm.
the machine learning and then inferential analysis,
Okay.
and then we cover inferential analysis
Mm-hmm.
like the hypothesis testing, these all things
Okay.
with the research academics field basically. And in that we also study about the factor analysis. This all thing belongs to that. And after in R3 we cover the linear regression algorithm
Mhm.
of machine learning, and logistic regression, some regularization like the Lasso and Ridge, and elastic net,
And
and
okay.
these we cover there, with conceptual, not only with the script. What are the concept behind that? That is very important. What are
I
the
have
what?
gone to with that course content, sir. R3 course content.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that
Hmm.
cluster analysis also there, no?
Segmentation and clustering analysis.
Segmentation and cluster analysis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is there. That is there.
Okay.
And after that, there is R4, where we
Mhm.
cover the decision tree, random forest,
Okay.
and time series analysis.
Mhm.
Few, in spite of that, few algorithm remains like the naive Bayes and SVM. So we just give the little bit introduction about that.
Okay.
Or under after doing these all algorithm, 5 to 7 algorithm, person are able to understand through the YouTube video, whatever you have. There are lots of video.
Mhm.
The other algorithm he could himself or herself understand the things.
Exactly.
So we just cover only up to this.
Mhm.
And then there is a deep learning is different batches we design, but that is not like this, the subsidized rate.
Mhm.
That is in our 6 month course, like that.
Okay.
So there is not a like only so to give the script of the deep learning in neural networking. We explain each and every. There are many types of neural networking. There are about 17, 18, or maybe more than that. So we cover this all. Uh, how are you, Shelly? Please unmute yourself. Yeah,
Yes, sir, I'm fine. How are you?
fine, fine, fine. Uh, what are you doing?
Sir, presently,
Hmm.
sir, I am a PhD aspirant, my first year of geoinformatics department.
Acha, geoinformatics,
Yes, sir.
geoinformatics. What? Because there is a genetics and geoinformatics is related to this. Uh, I mean, the geographical consent or what?
Yes, sir, it's basically dealing with satellite remote sensing data.
Okay, 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 okay.
So
Yeah,
in that machine learning, deep learning, Python are,
yeah, that is required over there in the satellite. Yeah, nice, nice, nice.
thank
You
you,
are
sir.
also attending the R2.
Yes, sir. So R3 also I enrolled.
Okay, okay, nice, nice. And then सुरेंद्र जी हो गए, गणेश जी. Ganesh ji, am I audible to you? Okay, we see the Ganesh ji, nice. How
Hello.
are you, sir?
Yes, sir. Good evening, all of you. I am
Ah,
Ganesh Prasad Bhandari from Nepal. I
hmm,
am assistant lecturer at
hmm,
Tribhuvan University.
hmm.
I have learned basic
Okay,
program, sir.
nice, nice, sir. So, whole life you have to learn something. Or I see the person like my age, and our age,
Yes,
like Padma ji and Ganesh ji and our Pushpa ji is what there. So we get some motivation.
learning.
Others should get the
Yes, sir.
motivation. Ki every time we have to learn something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Subhasis ji, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for doing this session for us.
Thanks, sir. You are
I'm
giving your valuable time, uh, and we are just providing you little bit knowledge about the R and the basic concepts, so the person could later on learn by himself or itself. So we are providing this thing because this is the requirement of uh, current era. The data is very huge data we are getting everywhere. The generation of data is very high, or everywhere is requirement would be of the data analyst in all the company in the near future. Within 5 years, you will see like an accountant is required in every company, just like the data analyst would also be required in every company, in the hospital or in the school, education, everywhere. Now, Fidelma, Fidelma, are you there? Okay, I think she's not there. Okay, she's there.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
Fine. Good evening.
Fine, fine. Okay, okay. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm a student.
Student. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. In which stream you are studying?
Transportation engineering.
Hmm?
Transportation engineering.
Okay, nice, nice, nice.
So
Okay,
I just started.
nice, nice. Okay, awesome.
Thank you for this session
Huh.
very much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, nice. In the first day we start with 100. And the last day we are only 23, 24. It happens always in most of the batches. It happens. Only few batches will remain 50 and 60. Generally in the R1 we exponentially we go down, not the upward direction. Exponentially we go down. Animesh ji, Mr. Animesh Panda. Yes. I think Animesh ji is not there. And Muhammad ji.
Yes, sir. I'm here. How are you, sir?
Nice, nice, nice.
Is everything on your side, sir?
How is your son?
He's fine, alhamdulillah,
Okay, nice, nice. He is very cute.
sir. He's right now watching cartoons, so not with me.
Okay, he is very cute. Nice, nice.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sonia ji. Sonia ji, are you there? I think she is unable to hear me. Karma ji, Mr. Karma Youngdon. Yeah. How are you?
Hello, good evening, sir, and all. I'm good, sir.
You are from?
I'm from Bhutan, and I work as a school guidance counselor in one of the remote school.
Okay, nice, nice. My one of the colleague is also in Bhutan. My best friend. We worked in some college together. He was also the
We have
faculty. I was
lots
also
of experts here working from India.
Yeah. His name is Kiran Agrawal.
Oh, I haven't.
He's male, not a female. Kiran generally the name of female also, but he is male. Kiran Agrawal is there in Bhutan.
Thank you for the providing such program, and I saw you so patient with so much of patience. Bits and every questions are solved, so I appreciate a lot, and we are really inspired. Thank you very much.
This is the teaching is my passion basically. I also belongs to IT field. I also worked in IT sector, but I won't get satisfaction over there, because until I read 2 or 3 hours daily, if I don't read 1 week like that, so I will get some frustration. So
really great,
I always read 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours daily. Something new I read. So that we could not do in the IT sector.
Yes.
They are the project we are working. We have to concentrate only on the project. So I gave up that job. Still I got some opportunities, but I deny them. I am just now the consultant over there in the IT sectors, few IT companies. So I go only once or twice a week in some company and recommend them whatever the problems they have. I solve it and suggest them. And this is my passion, so I'm doing this. So I get the satisfaction.
Really appreciate you, sir. Inspired. Really.
Money is nothing at this age.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Money we have earned at the young age and that all. So it is the just to keep ourselves busy.
Passion and satisfaction.
So what we have earned so far, we have to give it knowledge,
really
whatever
great.
we have to new generation. It should be passed on.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
We are
you.
really privileged to be your student.
Thanks. And Rabia? Rabia is there? Yes. So your mic is not working, Rabia? Yeah. Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay. And here, Bandana Pai. Okay, you are learner only, Rabia. Nice. Bandana.
Hi, sir.
Nice. Be little loud.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir.
Hi.
Thank you,
And
sir.
today is your fast?
Personal.
Is your fast today?
No, sir. I have. No, sir.
No, your voice is very, very low, so I asked you. And maybe you are fast today.
No, sir. I have started taking classes from 3 days.
Okay, nice. 3 days from not from the Monday. Monday, have you attended
No,
it or
sir,
not?
I have.
Okay.
I have missed the session.
Okay, so the next week, the next session will start. You may attend it. Okay. From Monday,
Okay, sir.
the same time will start. Okay. Or the link would be same for the R1. What link you use this time? Use the same link you have to use. Okay. So we don't change the link every week.
Sir.
We keep the link for R1 is the same link, R2 is the same link. So the person, whoever wants to attend may attend anytime. Right? Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue the session. Okay, or I will talk to other fellows at the end of the session. And
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
okay, so let's continue with the descriptive analysis today. And just I share my screen with you. And just wait. And today we cover our descriptive or univariate analysis. So first I explain you something. Most of thing I have already explained to you, but in spite of that, I think if there is some new thing, then I could explain you. And are you getting my screen on your Windows? Okay. Univariate analysis. What is univariate analysis? In the univariate analysis, when we get the data frame or the data set, whatever, we study each variable. we try to understand the behavior and nature of the each variable. Just like in a family, if there are 8 members in a family, every person, every member has a different nature and behavior. Okay. It means that in the data set, if you have the variables, they have a different nature and the different behavior. So we try to understand the nature and behavior of the variables. So we could manage it, manipulate them, and we could use in our analysis. It's not always possible to go through entire data, and you would rather like to look at few summary points which would give an idea overview of the variables. So we could not go through the whole data every time, and we could not see this value, this variable, every observation, but few summary points would help us to understand the thing. So what are the summary statistics? So facets of the data, if we see, so to arrive at proper summary statistics, we need to understand what facets of the data we need to look to have a complete overview. There are so many statistics, but we use some specific. There is a central tendency, mean, mode, median, through which, and the variability means the dispersion, standard deviation, mean, absolute deviation, range, whatever, and the shape of the data. We figure the data and then we plot the data and then we see it. These 3 things is compulsory. And about the central tendency, I have explained you earlier, mean, mode, median in my first session, that the mean is aggregate measure. It is very sensitive to extreme values, minimum and maximum, and it is always a unique. And similarly for the median is a partition measure, I have explained you, or it is not sensitive to extremes and it is also unique. Mode is a frequency measure and it is not sensitive to extremes, and it is not a unique. It may be more than one. There may be 2 mode of a data. So this will not go in deep like that. I have explained you this whole thing earlier. Now we talk about the shape of the data. Central tendency and variability summary states give you an idea about how your data is centered and spread or the scattered. But it does not tell you how frequent particular values are in your data. It does not tell us how frequent the values are in your data. For that purpose, we use some shape figures and plot. So how we could understand this? So we generally use the histogram and the box plot. So what we understand through it? Types of shapes and their numerical measure. If we see the symmetricity. Okay, that whether the data is symmetric, or symmetric means the normal data, normally distributed, and the positive is skewed or the negative is skewed, and the measure, if we measure it with some value, that is a skewness, is the measurement, and the numeric value we could get to the skewness. Here you see the types of shapes. The first blue one, if you see, that is a positive skewness, and it is the origin side, it is the higher frequency, and later on the frequency it decreases. So it is the positive skewed left model, it is called. And the middle one, you see there is the no skewness, it is a symmetrical data, it is a normal data. Okay, on the green one, if you see, it is the positive skewed. On the right side, on the higher value, it is the higher frequency, and the lower value, it has the lower frequency. And it is a negative skewed. Understand? So this is the shape we get in the plot, and we could find whether the data is positive skewed or the negative skewed. Why we see this shape? If some data is skewed, either it may be positive or negative, then we have to rely on median. We could not rely on mean. Median is better for this sort of data. So as per the whatever the statistics you further use, in the analysis, it should be on the median based. It should not be mean based statistics you have to use. It's just like in the perspective of I would say that the inferential analysis, if some data is skewed, it is not normal, then what you have to do? Then you have to use the non-parametric test, not the parametric test. Either it is a continuous data, okay, but the data is skewed, so you have to switch to non-parametric test, because the non-parametric tests are based on group median and the parametric tests are based on group mean. So in the skewed data, we could not rely on mean. Okay, so that is the thing. Through this step, we understand which center tendency we have to consider in the further analysis. Here you see the types of shapes. So I have explained these shapes in some detail. Here is the first chart, which is the positive skewed. Here this is our X scale. There is some other parameters also. Sally is asking about. Can you please say when do we do parametric and non-parametric test? It would be in there in the R2. Sally, I will explain in detail about that. You are already attending that. It will come after that data preparation. When we study the inferential analysis, I will explain over there. The little bit I am explaining the few points which are related with the univariate analysis. Okay, so here the one point I have given, if the data is skewed, then we use the non-parametric test. And either you have the continuous scale, no problem, but we have to shift to non-parametric test. Okay. So here you see it is our x-axis, and the x-axis we have the values of the variable. Well, these are the frequency on the y-axis in default. So what we get here, you see the mean is the highest on the x-axis, the largest value of the mean is here. And there is a median is lower than mean, and mode is lowest, and the height of this is highest in the mode. So if the mean is greater than median and mode, then it is positive skewed. If you have the central tendency, you don't have any graph, then you can understand this way also. And if the mean, median, and mode all are equal, so that is a normal distribution, normal data, symmetrical distribution. But in real scenario, it does not happen with the data. There may be some little bit difference between mean, median, and mode, or it would be a very small difference. So it is considered as a normal. Okay, there is some range by which we could consider it is a normal. And the negative skewed, you see the mean is smaller than median and mode. So that is negative skewed. So in this way, we could understand the data, and through the shapes, we could find out, get so many things through these shapes. It decides whether which center tendency I have to believe most. Histograms, visualizing shapes. So these are the simple bar charts indicating frequency of data values in your data. And the box plot shows the relative positions of the quartiles in your data, thus giving you an idea about the shape of the data. So I explain you, this is basically not a histogram. It is just like a bar plot, but consider it is a histogram. Okay. So if you draw a histogram and you get this sort of shape, then it is a normal distribution. If you get this sort of shape, you will get it is a positive distribution, positive skew, sorry. And this sort of shape, if you get, it is a negative skew. So after watching the plot, you could decide whether it is negative, positive, or normal. About histogram, if we say, it is for the continuous numeric variables, have too many unique values to make a proper histogram bar chart with the frequencies. For a better visual, we club neighboring values in the broader classes. So these classes can be made finer when we have a large amount of data. And this is our box plot. So in the box plot, what we see here our minimum value, and here the maximum value, upper extreme. And this is the first quartile and the third quartile and the median. Width does not matter. The width of box is not a matter, and the height is only along the height we have to go. And these are the outliers, that value which is too much different from this. Now that is the outlier single data point. Here we are watching. It may be more than one also. And this part between the Q1 and minimum is a whisker. Okay, similarly on the upper there is a whisker. So that is there. Next thing is outliers. Mostly in the data we get the outliers. First we have to give the treatment to the missing values, then outliers. So they are defined for numeric variables always, and the values in the data which are too different from the rest of the data, meaning they are either too small or too large, are called the outliers. How we calculate it, I will explain you later on. And quantifying outliers now. So how we quantify what would be the outlier, what would not be the outlier. So that is we can quantify these two small and the two large values by defining an acceptable range of values for data. For the standard example of ranges, if I explain you, if it is the normally distributed, then we use a mean plus minus n into standard deviation. So what is n here? I explain you just a moment. So I just tell you what does it mean. It is the mean of the data. Then if we are watching the upper limit of the outlier, this is your normal data, and you're going to find out this outer limit, so upper limit and the lower limit of the outlier. And above the value, these are called the outliers, and above this value. So we have to find out this point first. So x bar plus 3 into standard deviation, SD. This is for upper limit. For the lower limit, if you have to calculate, so x bar minus 3 into SD, you will get this one. This is the lower limit, this is the upper limit. Understand? So the value which is more than UL are the outliers. Okay. And then what we will do, we will just capping it. We just change the value to outlier value. Put instead of, if suppose you have whatever the value here, you put this value there. So it will come to here. Okay. Similarly, here we have to do the same process. If the data is skewed, then for upper limit, we have to use Q3 plus 1.5 into IQR. IQR, you know that Q3 minus Q1. That is IQR. Understand? And if I talk about the lower limit, so it is Q1 minus 1.5 into IQR. It is for skewed data. Is there any doubt to anyone? How we calculate it? Okay. Now we proceed. And this is the outlier. In this way, I have explained it. And we see in the Python now. Oh, sorry, R for the Python. Univariate analysis we see. I remove this. I'm taking one blank script. Here. Script analysis. In the descriptive analysis, whenever we get some data, we could perform the univariate analysis on the single variable. That is compulsory for us to understand the behavior of individual behavior of the data, and then we do the bivariate analysis, and then the multivariate also. So first we see the univariate analysis, and we see how we get the data, how we could read the data here on the R. So here we have few default data in the R. Already we have so many default data sets in the R. So how we could find those data? So first I tell you, you have to type the data and don't write anything in the bracket, the parenthesis, just control enter. You will get this. These are the data sets we have, the air passengers, VJ cells, and everything. So many data sets we have. And I'm selecting one of the simplest or the popular data set, which is the empty cars. Just a moment. Let me tag that one, empty cars here. This is empty cars data, sorry. This is motor, train, car road test. This data I am considering here. Okay. So I just write here. I have to give some object name to that data. And further, I would use that. I don't want to write empty cars again and again. So I'm giving one small abbreviation, MD, my data. And it's the empty cars. I will just write the name of that data here. And if I do the control enter for running this. So you see in the global environment, there are 32 observation area, 11 variables we have in this data set. If you want to view, you could click here and you will get this data. There is a mileage, cylinder, displacement, horsepower, draft, weight, cubic, VS, AM, gear, carburetor. What is cubic, AM, gear? So we could see this if we put the question mark and we write the empty cars. I control enter. So I will get here, I will show in the whole screen. So look at here, motor, train, car road test data. The data was extracted from the 1974 US Time magazine, motor train US magazine, and comprises fuel consumption and 10 aspects of automobile design and the performance of 32 automobiles from 1973 to 74 models. And here you see what those 11 aspects, fuel consumption and 10 aspects, so total 11. One is the fuel consumption, that is the mileage. MPG is a mileage, miles per gallon. Second one is the cylinder, number of cylinders in a car. Third one is the displacement of the piston in the cubic inch. Okay. And horsepower, gross horsepower, draft, rear axle ratio, weight, gross weight, that is 1,000 pounds, in 1,000 pounds. And the Q-sec is 1/4 miles per second, mile time, sorry, 1/4 mile time, Q-sec. VS is a type of engine. There are two types of engines. One is the V-shaped engines, other one is the state engine. So V0 is taken for the V-shaped engine and 1 is taken for the state engine. So they have written there VS. Okay. There is AM. AM is a gear transmission. It may be manual or the automatic. So A for automatic and M for manual. So for automatic we are taking 0 and the manual we are taking 1. And then later on, gear, number of gears forward gears. So reverse gear is always one in a car. So this is the number of forward gears, and the carburetor, the number of carburetors in car. So these are the variables name and their description. We know that. Now we see a few more things. Just whenever we read the data, we view the data in this way. You just view the data and we see the structure of the data. First task is to see the structure of data. So str is a function and md. So this is the structure of data. There are 32 observations, 11 variables. It is a data frame. First variable is a mileage, which is a numeric. Class is numeric. You see the class of each variable is numeric here. All the 11 variables. Few variables like VS and AM, you know that these are binary, 0 and 1 only. So we may convert this in categorical variable. Okay. So how we could convert this in categorical variable, I will explain. If we talk about the VS, the type of engine, so I will take a new name of the column, that is the type of engine. So we have 11 variables. It would be a 12th variable. So how can I create a new column in a data frame? How could I insert? MD is the data frame, data set name we have. And I will put the dollar and I will get the drop down menu of all the existing variables. But I don't want from here. I want to create new one. And that is the 3 letters I am using there. 3 words I am using here, not the letters. Types of engine, type of engine. So there is, I want to give the space between type and of an engine. So I have to use the quotes here. Okay, I'm either I could use the single quote or the double quote. So type of engine. This is my new column name. And now I will assign. And how I could get the values in this new column. Okay, so if else function I will use. If else md dollar vs is equal to 0. 0 means vs is a V-shaped engine. So it should be a V-shaped engine. V-shaped. Or remaining, the second is manual. Oh, sorry, not a manual, V-shaped, VNS, state engine. So if there is 1, then it would be a state. So I just put here in quotes, state. Understand this? Got it? So you understand this syntax. You see here, test, yes and no. So test is this, and this is we convert, we write this, and otherwise something is not 0, then it would be like a string. Okay. 1 would be converted in state and the 0 would be converted in V-shaped. So there are binary, only 2 categories. So I run this. When I run this, you see there are 12 variables. And if you see this here, so there is a type of engine V-shaped state. You see 0 is V-shaped, 0 is V-shaped, 1 is state, 1 is state. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Second, we are taking MD dollar. For M. M is a gear transmission. So I will give the name gear transmission. Gear transmission. And here also I use the same if else. MD $m equal to 0. It should be automatic. Otherwise manual. Understand? And I run this. I get the 13th variable. And if I see in this data frame, so it is a okay. I will show you this also in the structure. You see there is a character. But now VS and AM is not, it is not usable for me. It is not, because I have converted this here. So I will remove these two columns from my data frame. So how could I remove this? MD dollar VS. I had to just put the null in capital. And you see there are the 13 variables you will get here. 12. One reduced. And similar I will do for the AM. Should be capital. So there are 11 variables we have again. Got it? A double equal sign, it is for the logical response. We get here the logical response with Elma. Yeah, true and false. If it is true equal to 0, then it will give this name. Understand? Double equal is for the logical response. We require the logical response only. Okay. True and false we get here. Whenever we get true, we get the V set. Or when we not get the true, when get the false, we get the string. That's why. Now, we have so many numeric variables, and the numeric variables we have to bifurcate the things that this is continuous or discrete. Main thing we have to allocate the which one is discrete variable, which one is continuous variable. And I explained you in my first session there what are the discrete and what are the continuous. Wherever we have the unique values very few, then it is a discrete. If we have too much unique values, so that is a continuous. So we see one by one. MD dollar mileage. And first we see it. Sorry, I will use the unique function. MD dollar mileage. Look at here, we are getting 25 more than 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 unique values out of 32. So there are too much unique values we are getting. So this mileage column is a continuous column. We won't do anything with this column. We don't do any manipulation. Continuous data. Now I see the second one. MD dollar. Second is a surrender. I see here only 3 values I am getting. 6 or 8. So it is a discrete one. Very few unique values we have. So it is discrete. Okay. And whenever you get the discrete variable, what you do? What we should do here? Can somebody tell me? What to do with this column?
So we convert it to factor.
Correct. We convert this column into factor because it's a numeric. At present, you see this is a numeric, cylinder is a numeric, and we will convert this in factor. Okay. So what I will do, MD, how we convert this in factor, I will show you. MD dollar cylinder, and very simple, as dot factor, MD dollar cylinder. It has been converted in factor now. And I will show you again the structure of this. You see it is factor with 3 levels now. Understand? Okay. So you convert them in factor. Factor means it is now a categorical. It is not a numeric now. We could not use this factor as an arithmetical operation. Okay, we consider it as a string. Understood? The same thing we will do with some other variables. So this is a way when we get the data and we do the study. So first we see the structure, then we see if there are some binary or we are going to do the descriptive analysis on it. Then we convert them in categorical form. Okay, so we could make a graph proper way in everything. Understand? And we see how we get the statistics here. And we have to find out the mean, mode, median, and the standard deviation and these all things. Then we have to make the shape so we could understand the behavior of the data. So first we see individually we could find out the mean after writing a mean and MD dollar mileage. We get the mean here, 20.09. Individually, if I one by one, I want to see one. If I want to see the standard deviation, so I will write MD dollar mileage. So it's the standard deviation 6.02. I want to see the median. It is the MD dollar mileage. See the median. I want to see all the quartiles. First quartile, minimum value, maximum value. So I have function. I could write the minimum, maximum also in this way. MD dollar mileage, and the maximum I could get here. MD dollar mileage with the maximum value. And I want to see the quartile, first quartile, second quartile. Oh, sorry, first quartile, third quartile. How could I get it? So there is a quantile function. MD dollar mileage. So I'm getting 0% is the minimum value, 25% is the first quartile, 50% is the median, and 75% is the third quartile, and 100% is the maximum value. But this I have to do with the many columns. If I do in this way, it will take very long time. So at that moment, either I have to use the for loop, or we are non-technical. So it will take it is not easy to make a loop, for loop properly. It sometimes give you bug. So there is a few functions in R. There is a summary, is a function. And we find out the summary of MD for the data set, whole data set. We could take the summary for single variable also. But I am explaining how to get the summary of the whole data set. So look at here. We are getting this summary. There are 6-point summary only. This is the minimum value, the first quartile, the median of the mileage, and the mean of the mileage, third quartile, and the maximum value. We are getting only 3, 5, 6-point summary. There is no standard deviation. There is no skewness. There is no some other statistics are there. So it is incomplete basically. Summary, we are not getting all the finds. And you see here in the type of engine, the character only given. It is not giving us the table like this. You see, we have converted in the factor. So the 4-cylinder vehicle, we have 11 cars having 4 cylinders, 7 car having 6 cylinder, 14 cars having 8 cylinders. So this is better. So here we should have the how many are the state and the V-shaped, and we are not getting here due to character. If you want this sort of table, you convert them in factor. So I explained already how to convert these in factor. You could convert them in factor and you could get the better summary. Okay. Now I will show you how we get the more points in the summary. These are the 6-point summary. We try to get the 12-point summary. And for that summary, we require some library, some package you have to install. That is a SciPy package you have to install. And I explained you earlier how to install the package. Somebody have still some doubt, you could ask me. So library, if I run the Scikit library, it is already in my system, this package. I just import this library before using the function of this library. And now I use a function. That function is describe. And I write the MD. And I see this. You see, I am getting the various statistics here. This is the variable number only 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 11 variables we have. And this is the number of observations we have in each variable, the 32 in every variable we have. And this is the standard deviation of the each variable. But be very careful when you see this describes and you see wherever the asterisk symbol, it means it is a character or it is a factor. It means this statistics is not believable for these variables, and it is not. We don't consider these statistics in your analysis. Okay, only consider the non-asterisk variables statistics like mileage, displacement, horsepower, drought, weight, QSEC, gear, carburetor. This we could consider. But here the gear and carburetor, if you study the unique, you will get here also the very small values, very few unique values. Means it will also be convert in factor. Okay, but I have not converted here. You do that by yourself. Here we are getting the mean. Here we are getting the standard deviation. Here we are getting the median. Here we are getting the trimmed. What is trimmed here? Can someone tell me? What is trimmed? What does it mean, trimmed? Yeah.
Can I try?
Yeah.
Okay, mean the trim has to do with the mean. Is actually the mean of the data. That is 50% of the data, I think, excluding the outliers.
Correct, correct. Not excluding the outlier, excluding the whisker. Excluding the whisker.
Okay, thank you.
And a 50% data we get when we remove the whisker from both the sides. So I show you again that particular thing, water whisker. I show you here. I produce one that you are right. One box plot. This is the box plot. This is our first quartile. This is our third quartile. The 50% is data between here. And this is our whisker. And so these two whiskers we have to remove. And the remaining 50% data we have to find out the mean. That is called a trim. Understand here? There is the mean of the dense 50% data. Understand? Is there any doubt? That is trim. Trim basically a mean of the central data. And mean absolute deviation, MAD, I explained you. MAD, mean absolute deviation. This mean absolute deviation, we know that the mean absolute deviation we could take through the mean, through the median, and through the mode. But here, this mean absolute deviation is taken through the median. Understand? It is already taken through the median always. And there is a minimum value, then the maximum value, then the range. Range is what? Maximum minus minimum. Okay. Then there is a skewness is also there. So it is mileage we see 0.61. So lower whisker is smaller than the upper whisker. So it is the positive skew. Or you could also watch through the histogram. It's a very simple function to create a histogram, MB, $MB. It is a positive skew, you see here. Okay. Is there any doubt? Okay, you are getting here positive skew. So we are getting the summary points. Kurtosis I will not discuss here. The extended year I will also not discuss here. We will discuss in the inference elements of this part. Okay, so you could not understand if I explain the things here over. So there are the 12 point summary. You see here is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 point summary we have. Okay. Or if you don't consider this and then there is 11 point something we have. So that is a summary we could understand the behavior of the data. So this is all about the univariate analysis. In the univariate analysis, what we have to do? We have to see the mean. We have to see the mean, mode, median, and the skewness of the data is very important, which we are getting that is described. And through the data, we are getting the on which we have to rely. If it is not skewed, the skewness is between. There is people think that if the skewness is. I will explain you the thing about the skewness. About the skewness, I am going to tell you. Generally, skewness, the general skewness is -1 to 1. If it is 0, then it is normal. 0 for normal, not skewed, symmetric data. And the -1 is between -1 to 0. It is negative skewed or it is positive skewed. But there is a range. If there is -0.5 or there is -0 or +0.5, so this data is considered as normal. Understand? If the skewness is between 0.5, -0.5 and +0.5, so it is considered as normal. If the skewness is greater than that, then it is considered positive or negative. Okay, I will share, no problem. Sally, I could share. This script I will share to you, this script. And there is complete more than this, what I am explaining here. There is something also in the statement I have written, some things. Okay. So I will share both the script, not only this one, I will give also this if you want, no problem. So understand this. So here we have the skewness is 0.61, which is greater than 0.5. So it is positive skewed. So in this data, what we have to do? There is no outlier. If the skewed data, then we use the box plot. In the box plot, if you see, I will show you the box plot. So there is no outlier. There is no other point. So for this data, we have to consider median. We have to prefer the median for this data. Understand? And for variability, we could use the mean absolute deviation, which is based on the median, as I explained you here. We have to consider the median 19.80, and this is, or we could consider the Q3 minus Q1 also, if you want, IQR. Understand? We have two options. We have function for the correlation. You want to see the correlation between all. Because we have converted few in categorical or the factor. So I'm not taking this AMD data, I'm using the empty cars data, which is the pure, there is all the variables are numeric. So I just take the empty cars instead of MD. Why I'm taking empty cars, I explained you. Because the MD we have converted, manipulated the variables. So I just run this. Look at this. Look at this, the mileage and the cylinder. So as the mileage on the y-axis and the cylinder on the x-axis, there are the three cylinders, 4, 6, and 8. As the mileage in the 4 cylinder, the mileage is higher, number of cylinders is less. In the 6 cylinder, mileage is lower, and the 8 cylinder mileage is lowest. Getting it? If you see the displacement and mileage, so it is in this way. On the y-axis, there is mileage. On the x-axis, there is displacement. As the displacement increases, mileage decreases, because the piston length is increases now, and a displacement. So that is the why the mileage decreases. If you see here the horsepower and the mileage on the y-axis, horsepower on the x-axis. Any triangle you could take, the upper triangle or the lower triangle, any one. Don't both. So just upper triangle is better. So don't take the lower one. We have some other graphs also. Yes, we could get the coefficient also. There is some library we have to use for that pair panels function. Psych library we have already. This is the function of psych library, pair panels. Look at, these are the values. It is very, because so many variables we have. If we remove some, then we remove this categorical like this 4 variable. If we remove 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I remove this 5, and then we prepare it. Okay, I just do one DF, and for DF I'm removing empty cars. Square bracket I will take, and I'm doing the column cylinder, and carburetor, and VS M, and cylinder, carburetor, VS M. Some more cylinder, so VSM gear, and I see DF file, so it is not working. Okay, just see it. Now I tried cylinder, it's not getting empty cars, so we have to mention here also. It means I just see what it give me there. Okay, we have to mention that here also because we use generally dplyr library for doing this all sort of activity. Here I am not using that dplyr. I am using the R basic by which we could select the uh, variables. So I generally don't use it. The dplyr is very easy. Oh, this 3 is very disturbing me. Now you see the here the 32 observation 4 variables we have. And I will show those 4 variables. QSEC, AM, gear, carburetor. Oh, this I don't want. AM, gear, carburetor. Why it is there? Just a moment. AM, gear, carburetor. AM, gear, carburetor. I don't want this, no? I don't want this. So I do one thing. It's not happening there. So I just put negative sign here. I see now. Just a moment. Oh, I am taking MD. I have to use the empty cards. No? Sorry. I've done here some mistake that empty cards we are taking. I was not getting that, na? Now it's okay. Why I am not getting? Then that is the minus I am taking. I don't want to use that. I want to remove it. I want to remove it. Okay, just a moment. Why I am not getting it there? Just cylinder. Yes. So I do that with a different technique, the dplyr, because the R basic I don't use generally. So I use the DF. I first run the library dplyr. I run this and I'm using empty cars. Not, I am giving the name DF. Okay. DF through the empty cars. I will use pipe2 function and I will select the variables what I required. or what I want to skip. So what I required, I write that one. So we have variable mileage, MPG. Then we have displacement, which is numeric. Then HP. Then draught. Then we have weight. Then QSEC. Only this much. Other are the categorical. I'm getting the 6 variables. These variables. And now I have these are in DF. And if I use these peer panels for DF, look at it. It's now look pretty better than that. Got it? Here we are getting here the that some smooth also, and we are getting here where the density is higher and normal is where, and these the points generally the decreasing, and these are the values, the 0.85. And the displacement and mileage, the coefficient of correlation is 0.85 minus 0. This is the Carl Pearson coefficient of correlation. And here you could see the correlation between mileage and horsepower and displacement in horsepower. And the mileage and draught is 0.68. Displacement in draught is minus 0.71. And horsepower and draught is minus 0.45. So in this way you could see it. And these are the graph, the histogram is also there. So you could better understand the things. So many things, a correlation, histogram, everything you are getting here. Okay. Now, how do we read this graph on the left triangle side? Steady left triangle side means here. Okay. So that's the very simple, no problem. Here you see as the your on the displacement here, no? So displacement on the y-axis.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah.
And this mileage is here horizontal, so it is the mileage. Okay. So as the mileage increases, displacement decreases.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mileage is increasing, displacement is decreasing. So in this way, you could consider it. Here also the horsepower and the displacement. As the displacement increases, horsepower also increase. Naturally, the displacement increase then.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So we have so many things. The Pearce graph we have seen. I know you have seen this Pearce I have also produced. So we could produce the Pearce also for this DF. So it will look better. Now you see this pair graph is also there. And here is the one upper triangle you use only. The both this is the symmetry. Here what is happening? Here the on the y-axis there is a mileage, and the x-axis there is a displacement. But here in this figure you see in the mileage and displacement, here the displacement is on y-axis and the mileage on x-axis. It just transform the axis. Understand? So that is the thing. So this you have seen. We could make a single correlation graph also. We have so many types of correlation graph here, not only one. Peer correlation, so many. But I prefer that peer panels, and that is very good. Peer panels I prefer most because it gives us so many information. And one more thing, if I want to know the correlation only of two variables, or we know that the correlation we consider mostly in the numeric continuous variable. So I just write MD dollar mileage. MD is not here, so I write the DF dollar mileage. and df dollar displacement, suppose. So it is the minus 0.84, and as we have seen here also. This is the 847. So 7, if we remove this, it will give it 128.0 minus 0.85. That is okay, correct? This is the Karl Pearson coefficient of correlation. And if you have to perform a t test, correlation test, which is based on the t, so we could do that also. So there is only core dot test. The same thing you write there, df dollar mileage, displacement. You will get the t value and the p value, whatever. So there is significant correlation between mileage and displacement. Okay. So this is all about the bivariate we are getting here. Now, the bivariate we could, this is for the numeric. Whatever the analysis we have seen up to now, the univariate or the bivariate, with numeric variables. Now we see for the what will be happen for the categorical variable. So I will explain you that also. Here I have given that demarcation. Okay, I have used that here, but it was not working over there. I don't know why. Many times I have used that. So now we are taking one VCD library, and there is a data arthritis, and I think that you all know about the arthritis or not. I explained you yesterday. I think that t-test and the placebo, this, or if somebody don't know, could ask me, because I have many batches, so I could not understand which I have explained it or which I have not explained it. So if you don't know, okay, so we proceed. I don't explain this. A little bit I explain if somebody don't know. There are 5 variables in data set. One is the treatment. There are 2 types of treatment. One is the treated, second is the placebo. Placebo is the pseudo treatment. It is not a real treatment we are providing to the patient. And there is a sex, there is a gender, basically male and female only. Age is our continuous, that is the integer, basically. The 27, 29 is age, it is a continuous, basically. And there is a improved. Improved, the 3 type of improvements we get in the patient. First one is the non-improvement, second is the some improvement, third one is the marked improvement. So there are 3 categories, some, none, and marked. So this we have. First variable is the ID of the patient only. So we see some things here. I explain here itself. So if you want to see the more details of the arthritis, you click on question mark, then arthritis, you will get the all detail here. So structure, if we see about the arthritis, we see the structure is like data frame 84 observation, 5 variables. First the integer, second is the factor with 2 level, and the integer, and the ordered factor level, the none, sum, and mark. In this way we are getting it. Now I am making a table. Arthritis improved. I want to see what is the frequency over the table function. I have explained you yesterday also. So is the tab 1. I am giving the object name for this, and I run this. So it is my tab 1, that is the none, sum, and mark. The non-improvement, there out of 84, we are getting the 42 are non-improvement, means the 50% are having no improvement. And the 14%, 14 out of 84, 14 have some improvement. And out of 84, 28 has marked improvement, but it is not better for me. So I will try to convert this in the percentage. It would be better to explain. We have to always put the mind, how many, out of how many, out of how many. I don't want to take that tension in my mind. Nobody would like to take that sort of tension. He would prefer the percentage. So second function, I will tell you the prop.table. It will get the proportion of this. And then we take it round off and then multiply by 100. We could get the percentage. So I have given step by step. You could do all together, everything. So tab 1 we have created, and I am taking the prop.table. So I run this, and you will see it is the proportion, the 50%, the 16%, the 33%. And I round it off and tab 1 with 2 decimal places. Round function you already know. It is we use for the round off up to 2 decimal places. So I'm getting 0.50, 0.17, 0.33. Then I am multiplying this by 100. So I'm getting the 50% is the having non-improvement. 17% has some improvement, 33% mark improvement. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, it is the first statistics we applied here. Now I am taking the 2 variables instead of 1. I am taking a arthritis dollar improved and arthritis $6. 2 improvements I am taking, 2 variables I am taking. So I will get in this way the table, just like the non-female and male in this way. Okay. Or I could use the xstep function also. In the xstep function, there is a different thing. In the table and the xstep, there is a difference. Syntax difference is there. Here we have to start with the tilde. Tilde, which is the below the escape symbol in the keyboard, escape key. And improved, I am taking. And the sex, I am taking the plus, improved plus gender, I am taking. So here we don't have to use the comma. We have to use the plus sign. And then after comma, we have to write the data. So this is the different syntax you see. And if I run this, you see the difference in both the tables. Can you judge the difference in both the tables? Please you see carefully and tell me the difference between both. Yeah. Headers are given. Correct, correct. Just a moment. difference is of the header. Hi, it is the proportion Sally person. That is the probe dot table is gives us the proportion of the probability, correct? And here we see the there is a column name is here. So this is the difference between both. And then we see here we have seen that. Now I am changing the treatment and improved. Instead of this gender, I am taking improved treatment and improved. And this is my table. And I find out the probe dot table of this step 2. And then I multiplied by 100 and I get this. So it is the percentage for the whole. So the 35% patients which are placebo and having no improvement. So that is not a good interpretation because we are taking the gross 100%. If we consider here 100% here or here, the 35% got non-improvement in placebo. So it is the total 100% is the placebo, and out of that, it has not, this much has not got. So that would be better, I think. So what I will do, I will do the probe dot table 1. I am using here one across the value of treatment. So I will show you this how I am getting it. So I just run this. So you see, if you total this, it would be 100, and if you total this, it would be 100. I will just convert them in percentage, so you could look it better. It is the table 1, and the 2 is for the round. Okay, this is 1 is for the row wise. So it won't be 100 because the some 1.626 same number is there. So it could not be converted is the 99, or it is the 100. So there is a calculation problem there in the row wise. We convert them in the column wise. We see what happens. Same thing we are doing. So here see the column total is 100 here everywhere. So it is better. So we could say in the non-improvement, there were 69% were the placebo and the 31% were treated. The patients having some improvement, 50% were placebo and the 50% were treated. Patients having marked improvement, 25% were placebo and 75% were treated. Is it better to interpret? So don't use the gross total when you use 2 variables. Okay. And there is a margin dot table 2 if we see. So it is the margin dot table gives us the total of that, the tab 2 total, and the tab 2 1 if I write, it will give me the row wise total, placebo and treated. If I write 2, so it will give me none, sum and mark total. These are 1, 2. And add margins I will explain you for tab 2. So add margins will add the sum on the both sides. If you just write 2, you will get the one side sum. If you use the 1, you will get the sum on the row sum you will get here. Okay, that is the thing. And very few things remains now. That is the X step. I'm using the 3 variables instead of 2, treatment, improved and sex. And I run this and I will show you. So it is the 2 different tables I am getting. The sex female I am getting here. And there is a for male I am getting here. Okay. So there are 2 parts. So instead of that, if I take the F table, it would be better for me. So if I use the F table, you see the F table here. So the sex female, male, and the treatment is the placebo, none, sum and marked, and the treated none, sum and marked, there is the value. So this is better than that. And I have again done something. You could do it, margin dot table and these all things that I explained earlier to you. So you could apply these few things, but the important one I have explained you. And these are some class cases. I have written all the this syntax, and you just have to run it. Okay. and you have to conclude what does it mean. You have to run it and conclude this. So is it better? I think that this is done for today. Is there any query, any doubt regarding the session? Someone has? No doubt. Thanks, Mohammed. And this is over to you, sir, now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So finally, we are done with the workshop today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Today we completed. All of you, congratulations. You graduated from the R1 now, the foundation program of our Cypher Analytica, for the R programming. All of you have graduated. Congratulations, first of all, and appreciate and give, that we call it, that your time is very important, and you have given your time for learning. So that's the best thing you can do in your life. These things will never lost, that. So all of you, the time which you have given to learn, I really appreciate, and we can clap for ourselves. We can just clap for ourselves. All of we can clap for ourselves, and just right hand on your left shoulder. That very good. You have done it. So all of us should, tap our, and we should feel proud. Yes, we have done it. You see that out of 100, only 28, 26 people are here right now. All of us lost. So this is what the commitment is all about. Who stay till last, who stay till end. And this is the sincere participant. These are the sincere people. This is where we are looking for. We are not looking for that 1,000 guys who have joined, who fill the form. We are looking for these 26 people who have really stayed back till end and learned it. So I really appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. And let's connect next week on Monday. We are starting, sir.
Yes, Monday R1 we are starting.
R1 we are starting. So if you anyone want to repeat, please repeat it or share it with the friend circle. Those who want to do that, and fill the form for R3. R3 is R2 is not repeating, right, sir?
No, R2 is not. The R3 will start now.
R3 will start on 2nd. But you guys have to do R2 first. So R2, let's wait for the R2 to announce. Most probably at the end of November we will have it, or maybe first week of December. So we'll announce it on our Facebook page, and also we'll mail you, so you can get it that mail, and you can keep checking with us that when the R2 will start. So the best way is that facebook.com/Cypher Analytica, where you will see every week new courses, whatever the things are happening. So you can get updated there also. So thank you very much from all of Cypher Analytica team. So we really appreciate. And if you really enjoyed the session, I really appreciate if all of you can give a video feedback, just 30-second recording, that how you felt about the program. So just share with us on our WhatsApp or Facebook or anywhere you like. And that is how the journey should. Now the journey has started. The course has not ended today. According to me, it has just started. So now you have came to the track now. Now journey started for you for data science. So if you want to be data science, now you have you have boarded the train. Let the train move on, and you just follow that path. That's all from us. So with that, anything else you want to share, sir?
No, sir. Thanks everyone. Thanks to all the participants.
Anyone like to share anything? If
yeah.
You want to share?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, I will share all the files for today. File I will share. Yesterday I have shared. Today remains now, and in the evening I have shared before this session.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Thanks.